The next straw hat we will be discussing is, of course, the sharpshooter of the crew, Mr. Usopp. We don't have a last name for it, so Mr. Sopp, I guess. Let's just jump right into it. So, Usopp, he gets his first bounty after shooting down that flag, which is, of course, an even 30 million berry bounty, which means he's worth 2 buggies. Insane. So, you know why Usopp got this bounty, but of course he's had a multitude of fights beforehand where he's been able to prove his strength. Like Miss Merry Christmas with a bounty of 14 million berries, virtually no one during Skypiea, and then Luffy, who is of course an 100 million berry man. So, Usopp did a lot during these sagas, but didn't really get recognized for it. Luffy got a bounty that was 10 million higher than the last person that he defeated, so him having a bounty of 30 million after Enies Lobby would make sense, I guess.
Hey, it's editing me, and I was thinking back on all the opponents that Usopp had fought, and I realized that he did defeat Chu with a bounty of 5.5 million berries, so I just thought I'd say that first fight. Yeah.
Yes, even if he didn't have like a specific opponent that he fought throughout that saga. So 30 million makes sense. Government probably just recognized him for shooting down that flag. So, yeah. And then afterwards we get Usopp versus... Oh my god, what is wrong with me? I can't believe I would actually insinuate that Soga King and Usopp are the same person. What is wrong with me? We know that they are completely separate individuals. And of course, Usopp helps Soga King, and Soga King helps Usopp to defeat Perona. Does not get a bounty. Next, Sabaody. He tries to shoot Kizaru. Does not work because Kizaru is light man. Next saga, he trains for 2 years, comes back after the time skip, and beats random fisherman pirate that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. He chomped things. Usopp does not get a bounty. Punk Hazard happens. Usopp doesn't really do much that I remember. Dressrosa happens. Usopp uses observation hockey and basically becomes the most wanted man in the country after all for messing with sugar multiple times, and Dofi even gave him a bounty of 500 million. So now people are predicting that Usopp will get a bounty of 500 million after Wano, but I don't think so, and I'll talk about that more later. But basically, Usopp gets a bounty of 200 million after Dressrosa. Very cool and epic, very poggers. I'd say so myself. Usopp gets, of course, a very high bounty, one of the highest in the cruise, of course, and then you have Zoe. Nothing happens. We get Whole Cake. Usopp is not there. Wano. Usopp has done little to nothing in this arc, and then even when he does, it's basically a setup for Nami to have an epic Straw Hat moment. But either way, he's not able to defeat an opponent specifically. Honestly, I do not think that there is that much that Usopp could do in this arc. If you think about the opponents that are left, pretty much everyone has a fight set up, except for, I guess, the rest of the numbers and like random people like the Oni Wabanshu
And the Mimo Warigumi,
which are like the ninjas and the samurai, but they're also the numbers. I feel like that's pretty much the only place where Usopp could show his skills. He's already like showed some of his skills, but like for him to actually defeat an opponent specifically, that's pretty much the one place we could get it, except for possibly Roof Piece 2, where we see the Straw Hats facing down a Yonko, who's also kind of an ancient giant, so it would be like Oars tie-in, yeah. But besides that, I feel like Usopp's not necessarily going to do enough because pretty much everyone has an opponent that they're already fighting against, unless the endurance kicks in, because I feel like we haven't had enough of a fight from each of the Toby Ropo, and I feel like they're getting done pretty quickly. So an endurance is going to kick in. Maybe Usopp defeats Page 1 definitively and then goes to defeat some numbers. But either way, I don't feel like he's going to get enough notoriety or recognition for that. So at this point, I feel like it's going to make sense for the crew to get like an even 100 million increase instead of a 50 million increase like they got after Dressrosa. So Usopp gets an even bounty of 300 million berries. So moving on, Usopp versus Yasopp, the fight that we've been waiting to happen since like chapter 30 something, technically. Maybe, I don't know if people were talking about it at that point, but it's definitely been an idea for a very long time within the community. So Usopp fights Yasopp. Does he get a bounty from this? Probably not, honestly, but either way, it's going to be a good epic character moment for Usopp where he learns a lot more about his father. And of course, Elbaf is going to be Usopp's arc in a lot of ways, where he's going to be able to prove himself. So if there's a time for Usopp to be able to show that he's a brave warrior of the sea, I think it's going to be Elbaf. But I don't think he might get a specific bounty for it, even though he's going to do a lot in that arc. So next we have a bunch of different options for Usopp, and I feel like his chances have kind of been ruined by Jinbei joining the crew, because Jinbei sort of becomes the number 4, and then Usopp kind of gets even further left behind, even being part of the weak trio before. But he's probably not going to get a big fight until we face off with the Blackbeard Pirates. There's not really an admiral for him to be set up to defeat, or like someone else that's just like been waiting for Usopp to beat, besides Mr. Van Auger, who was of course the sniper of the Blackbeard Pirates, which is probably where Usopp will get his final bounty. And the thing with Usopp is kind of he's a special case, because he's one of the number 1 Straw Hats predicted to die, because he will be able to become a brave warrior of the sea, brave enough to even sacrifice his life for the sake of his crewmates and his captain. So Usopp may not even get a bounty beyond what he gets in Wano, or the bounty he gets after defeating Van Auger. But let's be optimistic. Let's say that Usopp does survive, which hopefully he does. The Van Auger fight is pretty much the only thing I could see that could make him increase his bounty, and honestly, I think that could be a good place where he gets his final bounty of 500 million. Honestly, 500 million is still a pretty big bounty. That's what Luffy got after defeating one of the 7 warlords of the sea. But you could say the same thing with Crocodile, where he got 100 million. But either way, it's still a pretty high bounty, 500 million. I think that's pretty good for Usopp, especially like comparing him to the rest of the crew. I think that's going to be like a pretty good place for him. If he gets higher, I won't be mad. If he gets a little lower, I won't be mad. I guess the Usopp video is going to be a little shorter than intended, because there are not really many options for Usopp besides what I've been saying before, where there are going to be a few future story arcs like Elbaf, where we have no idea what the villains or anything else is going to be. I think it's going to be the Big Mom Pirates, and they're going to be a big part of that. But there could also be tie-ins with, of course, the Giants, where we have no idea if there could be strong warriors there that specifically want to or are going to end up fighting the Straw Hats. And that could be also a very good place where Usopp could get a good fight, but also probably not get a bounty. So yeah, that's the Usopp video. Like, comment, subscribe. Nothing else to say here. Goodbye.